Hey guys, what's going on? It's Omar, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the three-step process to create multi-billion-dollar networks and conversations. It's something that I've used on my main channel and in my life and business, where I've interviewed over 100 multi-billion and multi-million-dollar entrepreneurs. For those that don't know, I'm the host and creator Omar of the Passionate Few YouTube channel and podcast, which you can find the link down below. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about this three-key-step process where if you follow this formula and you can model it in your own way, I promise you, you'll open doors you wouldn't believe possible, no matter where in the world you live or what industry you're in. And I've used these, before we get into them, to not just open billion-dollar doors, not just get people on my podcast, but also do business to the tune of my first $1,000, $10,000, $100,000 plus dollar deals, and how some of these things in life, business, and honestly, just genuine relationship building work. All right, so with no further ado, let's get into the three elements of highly effective networking and this framework that really has worked for me, and I know it'll work for you. All right, so in no particular order, you can always switch it up, but I like to start it like this. Number one, compliment. Number two, context. And number three, question, okay? Compliment, context, question. Now, how does this work in a conversation? Well, let's just say, for example, this could be in a digital context where you're doing an outbound message through email or direct messenger, through social media, Instagram, Facebook, Meta, whatever it is, email, phone call, doesn't matter. Always start, in my view, with a compliment, something that is specific. And the better the compliment, the better the opportunity of genuine connection, okay? So I like to always start out with, and this could also be in person too, you meet someone somewhere, I like to start out with a genuine compliment, something to the effect of, hey, Tim, I love your recent video where you talked about XYZ. It really connected with me because I've been looking for answers on this particular question. Or maybe it's a journalist, you could talk about a recent thing they did there. Or maybe if it's somebody like me and you, they posted something on social and you can say, hey, I really love your video, and you give a specific compliment, right? Like I said, the better the compliment, the better the opportunity of growing the relationship, because people feel that. Imagine for you, if I told you, hey, I really appreciate your help the other day. It's very different than if I say, hey, I really appreciate your help the other day because when you told me this, it really struck out to me. When I applied it, this amazing thing happened, okay? So that is so important. Number one, compliment. It is the best way, in my opinion, to communicate the value. Chances are, if you want to connect with somebody, there's something that genuinely you have to compliment to connect with them, right? So number one, it accomplishes that. Number two, it also incites reciprocity. It incites reciprocity to where if you give someone value, just like if I told you, hey man, thank you so much for doing XYZ, naturally you're gonna want to reciprocate and say, hey man, you're very welcome, and thanks for the kind words. Tell me a little bit more about yourself. It sort of opens the energetic door, if you will, okay? So number one, and it also works, number one is to compliment, and it also works because whether you're just starting, you're not at someone's equal level, or maybe you're just ascending up there, no matter where you are in the quote-unquote social or networking class. Sorry, I got my buddy in the background there. Just kind of filming this impromptu 100-day video YouTube challenge. But you can then begin to create relationships because people like people who compliment them. It's really that simple, and not in a manipulative way, but in a really genuine way, in a way where, for me at least, I never looked at networking or building relationships as this really strategic thing. I mean, yes, I recognize a strategy, but honestly, I'm genuinely curious. I genuinely love to have meaningful and rich conversations. That's why I started the show. That's why I started the podcast. That's why I'm into personal development content, going to seminars and making videos like this, right? It's like, I love stuff that's raw, real from the heart that can help make people's lives better. And it's my life's work, and it's my mission, and it's my passion to do that stuff. And so, number one, start with a compliment, because when you start with a compliment, you incite reciprocity, you open them up, you come from a place of giving, and you build a natural connection, okay? And I'll give an example at the end of this, but I'm just giving you practical ones as we go, okay? Number two is context. So after you give a compliment, you want to think context. And this framework of thinking in these three steps, this is the most important as it comes to you. So after you compliment, what I like to do is give context. Context means give them more information about the truth of the situation. So give them more information about who you are, what it is that you do, what is your name, right? Give them context of you. Give them context of why you're at the venue. Give them context as to why you're messaging them. Give them context as to who it is you even are. And the more effective and efficient you can make that context and that compliment, well, now you're going to have a really clear bridge to build, because now someone, A, you've gotten their attention by giving them a nice word, and B, you're now giving them more information about who you are, not too much, right? Respectfully, who you are, giving them context on what you do and maybe why you're reaching out. And then we move to number 3. And again, I'll give you an example at the end of this video. But number 3 is a question. So one of the most powerful things I have found whenever you're building a relationship or striking up a conversation is asking a question. How many times have you got a text message or an email or some sort of message on whatever message or platform and someone just said, hey, right? Or they didn't ask a specific question. They just tried to get your attention, but they didn't give you a specific ask so that you can give them a specific answer. Well, the same is true in business networking, in relationship building, at the $1,000, $100,000, $1 million, $1 billion level, okay? I've sat down toe-to-toe and seen some of the most incredible relationships and business deals go down at every level. I've been a part of some myself as a partner, as an affiliate many times, but I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, one of the keys to effective communication is the ability to ask questions. And I can't tell you how many huge opportunities could happen by just asking. So let me give you an example. Let's say I have an internet marketer friend who's doing something cool, and I have the courage to, compliment what he's doing, give him context on what I'm doing, and then say, hey bro, by the way, would you ever be interested to do a revenue share deal where if we email to your list of 10,000 or 100,000 people, we'd give you 20%, right? If I never ask that question, I'll never get an answer. And if he goes, yeah, then the simple 13 seconds of confidence and effort that it took me to ask a question and get him to answer the question could open up a 6-figure, multiple 6-figure, 7-figure, multiple 7-figure business opportunity or beyond, right? The reality is that the quality of questions we ask dictates the quality of our life. In life, in business, in relationships, in virtually every area. The better the questions you ask, the better the answers you get. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you're stuck at any area of your life or business right now. Maybe aside from just networking or this 3-step framework to effective communication, persuasion, and influence, you're thinking to yourself, man, I want to get to the next level, but I don't know how. Well, I would ask you this. Your brain is a supercomputer. If I ask you, what color are your socks right now? Even if you don't answer out loud, I guarantee you, if you're wearing socks, your brain just went in there and asked yourself, what color are my socks, right? You ask your brain a question, it'll give you an answer. The challenge is that most of us ask the same questions over and over and we end up getting lousy answers. So if we can just interrupt that pattern and start asking intentionally better questions, you're gonna get better answers. I'll give you an example. If I say to myself, hey, how do I lose weight? It's very different than I say, hey, how do I lose weight and enjoy the process and only do it 3 times a week? Right? You give your brain new context, new filters, it'll fill in the answers. And see, here's the beautiful part. You're not responsible for the answers. You're only responsible for the questions and the actions, okay? See, so many people get stuck on the how, when in reality, I find that when you focus on who you're being, and you can focus on bringing other people into your world, right? You can get the who's to figure out the how. Well, now you can play your strengths and live in this energetic momentum of confidence and being a high value person, which then coupled with these networking strategies, meeting people, shooting cold DMs, because this works both in person and virtually. Well, now you're going to come from a place of power to begin with. Okay, so I know this is a long-winded rant, but I just want to hop on here and share these things with you because this 3-step formula has been tremendous and a game changer, and it works whether you're shooting a DM message, whether you're meeting somebody in person, trying to shake their hand and network them. Don't be afraid to introduce yourself. Give a kind and genuine compliment. Give them context as to who you are and what you do. For me, I would compliment high-level entrepreneurs and say, hey, Tom, or hey, Bill, or hey, Jane, or whatever their man or woman's name was. And I would do this over DM, Messenger. I would say, hey, Tom, quick question. Big fan of what you're doing out there in the world, especially your latest episode with this person. I thought it was so cool that you guys talked about this. For context, my name is Omar, and I have a podcast and YouTube show where I do XYZ. Would love to interview you on the show, and I'm wondering who would be the best point person on your team to talk to in order to send a press inquiry to see if we can set that up or if it would be a good fit. So see, I'm complimenting, giving context on who I am, and then asking a very specific question that moves the conversation to the next step in the transaction, that moves the conversation to the next step of meeting the right person, that moves the conversation from that question to an answer that can advance us to the finish line on something, on booking a date, on setting up a phone call, on doing a business deal, on discussing the potential of a business deal, right? And if you can elegantly communicate those things, I promise you, anytime you get stuck, you'll never have to worry about it again. And a little bonus, put a little emoji or put something quick and efficient, because sometimes when you send messages or emails, if you have a short and clear subject line or a first letter and you say, hey, Tom, quick question, it subcommunicates to the person reading it that this is going to be simple and easy. See, complexity is the enemy of execution. So the more simple, effective, and profound you can make your messages, the more you're going to be able to influence, persuade, build relationships, build friendships, and ultimately grow your life and business. All right, so hope you guys enjoyed, again, this long-winded rant, but trust me, next time you shoot a message, compliment, give context on who you are, and ask them a specific question that by responding, you make it very easy. For example, if they say, if I say, instead of Grant Cardone, can I interview you? I say, hey, compliment, I'm a big fan of what you do. Context, my name is Omar. I have a podcast or I have a business deal I'd like to share with you. And then question, was wondering who on your team would be the best point person to send more information. If they say Stephanie, and I message Stephanie, hey, Stephanie, Tom or Grant or Billy told me to message you. Now I'm creating an energetic momentum of advancing things forward in the same 15 seconds or 15 minutes of effort that someone else wouldn't say those things and would sit there in their head and think, oh, hopefully one day I could do X, Y, Z. Okay, nobody's coming to save us. If you want to build relationships, if you want to take massive action, and you want to build a bridge, and you want to increase your network, then you got to realize your net worth is directly correlated to your network. All right, so take action on there. And remember, if you want to go out there and live those dreams, please keep watching these videos. Subscribe to the channel. I'm sharing these 100-day video challenges, raw, real, from the heart. And go out there, live strong, live with passion. Make sure to subscribe. Share this with a friend if you thought it was valuable. And if you're really committed to those dreams, go out there and prove it. I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and also, you can follow me in the description down below, as well as hit me up for my one-on-one coaching program. You can apply in the description down below. Taking on a handful of people. It's a little bit high ticket, but it's relatively affordable for entrepreneurs out there who are interested. I love doing it from the soul, and it lights me up. So if you'd like to be my next success story, I've worked with clients who started from zero, some at 6 figures, took them to 7 figures, from all walks of life. Men and women have done amazing things. If you want more information, you can book a call on the link down below, or join our free SKOOL community, or follow me on social media below. Otherwise, God bless. This time I'm serious. Peace out, and I'll see you tomorrow. Love.